Commissioner Goudreau's discussion of spoken prayer.
I wanted to add this today. The Supreme Court, made a ruling today allowing or upholding public prayer, spoken public prayer at governmental meetings, local meetings. And back, I believe it was in 2010, not this previous board, but or the previous board, not this current board, removed the spoken public prayer from the beginning of our procedures. And, this board has not made a ruling on it. I think we've just followed through what that board decided on. And in light of this, I would like to, consider that and adding spoken public prayer back into our format again, before the start of the meetings. And I'll just mention a few things in here. The headline obviously was, the Supreme Court upholds public prayer at governmental meetings. This was actually an article from USA Today. The Supreme Court on Monday upheld the century-old tradition of offering prayers to open government meetings, even if the prayers are overwhelmingly Christian and citizens are encouraged to participate. And a little further down, what this was actually a case up in Greece, New York, where they were sued for public prayer. Went all the way to the Supreme Court, and obviously the Supreme Court upheld it. The majority ruled that that opening local government meetings with sectarian prayers does not violate the Establishment Clause as long as no religion is advanced or disparaged and residents are coerced. I'd like to, obviously you may want, some time to, think about it or, look into it, because this just came out and our attorney can, interpret it a little more. And I'd like to, add it to our next meeting for discussion. Possibly a vote on, returning spoken public prayer to, I guess, the beginning of our agenda.
And we may just do it. I didn't need a vote, but I'd like to hear from the attorney. But when I was on that previous board, and at least my point was that we need to follow the law. That's what I felt like we were doing at the time. The law's changed, and we need to follow it as it is. That's my position on it, and we can get to it however you wish. I would volunteer to do the prayer.
Or
whatever the board wishes is what I would do. And assume that responsibility once we hear from the attorney.
Yeah, and at this point, the only thing that's available is what's on the news channels. We don't have the written report from the Supreme Court, but I do think in that case they had a system of making a list of religious leaders in the community, invited one in for each meeting to do it for the board. I haven't read the opinion, so I don't know if it's permissible for you all to do it. I can't imagine it wouldn't be, but like I said, I just haven't read it yet because it's so brand new.
Well, Don, informally, we were just having a conversation, and in previous years, it was just done as a matter of course. It wasn't listed on the agenda. It's just the chairman or someone would say, well, would you do the prayer tonight, or would you do the prayer tonight, and it was done, and
it used to be very simple.
Very informal.
Very informal.
I'd love to see that happen again, and not make such an issue out of it, but again, I won't follow the law. I think the law's changed, and that's what I was sworn to do, uphold the Constitution. But after we hear from you, I would volunteer to start it or be responsible for it, whatever the board wishes us to do.
No, that's perfectly fine.
That's the way I feel. Is there anyone else like to weigh in on this?
No, I just think it's probably appropriate that we are having this discussion after the ruling today, but as you said, it happened today.
It happened today. It's like,
So
the attorney said it's hot off the press.
Right.
Yeah, I read it about 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we're on the cutting edge of,
Well, you know, like I said, I just like it not to be such an issue. If we're gonna do it, I like the way they used to do it. Chairman do it or Collins. Anybody want to volunteer? Anyone else have a comment? All right, then we'll move on to commissioner comments.